That's a tough act to follow. I made some notes of some of my personal changes going through the program. Our church is about 225 members, so I think I would have been up here probably a few weeks ago saying 240 something, but after some of the mop-up we just did, there's some change in that number, but it's about 200 and some odd households, member households. We're a fairly stable congregation with strong core leadership. We're still in the process of Threshold Congregation Program, working on some more long-range planning. We've developed or have changed our nomination committee as far as almost like the pledge campaign used to be. It would start up 2 or 3 weeks before we had our annual meeting to try and get some more victims, right? And now it's turned into a much more proactive leadership development program, making sure that people aren't getting involved into leadership opportunities before their time, making sure that they have the skills and the training, making sure they're getting involved in the right level. We've gone through a process over the past couple of years of developing a mission. We did some of that work with Connie. We developed a mission that was not agreed upon in the annual meeting. And we went back and redeveloped it again. And that was painful for a lot of people who worked on that. But we ended up with a mission, which I can't recite by memory yet. I know it's explore, encourage, and act. Again, thank you, Ruchotze. We offer a home where we explore, celebrate, and cherish our interconnectedness, encourage growth and transcendence, and act with justice and compassion. And so now we're in the process of, I think you referred to it as a cultural shift. We're in a cultural shift where we're integrating that mission as part of our, I think I mentioned this in the last panel, it's becoming part of who we are, our activities, our church activities, and the leaders have already been questioning, but now we're getting people that are in those committees and the volunteers to really question, well, why am I doing this, and how does this align itself with our mission? And one of the slides, well, we've done it this way because we've always done it this way. We're not hearing that as much anymore. There's enough of us that can challenge and say, well, how does that fit with our mission today? How do we identify ourselves today? How does what we used to do fit with that mission? I would say that for a lot of us, and for me personally, when I talked about what impact it had for me, I'm a manager in a business, and so I have certain skills that I use in my leadership there. And for me, this was a big eye-opener because a lot of the skills which I'm strong at work don't really work in my church life. And I spoke about this at the prior panel in the form of a question, but for me, I had to learn that it was really about the process and that we're in ministry. A lot of other types of denominations have ministry that's really very clearly set in the mission on what exactly it's going to accomplish. And for us, our ministry is working together to fulfill our mission of our church, and it's important about how we are together and how we treat each other. I was able to really understand and see the anxiety that I see in people at church and kind of relate to that different. Tension's not a bad thing. The emotional situations that we find ourselves in are normal. Dysfunction is not abnormal. And so we need to have those tools to be able to deal with them. I learned that I didn't have to focus on trying to improve the things that I wasn't good at. And that I really should be focusing on my strengths. And that's where I'm really going to have the most impact. And I had mentioned mission before, but really, especially with the committee work that I do, really trying to focus on what our mission is and how does stewardship committee, other than just fundraising, how do we fulfill the mission of the church, besides just the pledge campaign? It's a real challenge. And I think one of the lines I had here, I can't find it in my notes, but when we talk about that mission, for me, before I moved to Binghamton, where there's no ocean, I used to sail. And when you're sailing a ship, you do a lot of tacking, and you have to adjust what you're doing with the boat based upon how the wind shifts, the current that's beneath the boat, the weight that's on top of the boat. So there's a lot of variables that are completely out of your control. But you ultimately have a point in the horizon, or a point that you're going to. You're going to have to constantly make adjustments to shift. And I really felt that going through this program helped me to kind of look at how I can be better at leadership and really be